I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
What were they up there, 10 minutes?
So cringy. Look at us, we're very wealthy. Don't we look great? Admire us.
Yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness.
Yeah.
They're always the most fun.
Katy Perry is completely unraveling after Joe Rogan tore apart her highly anticipated space adventure during his latest podcast.
Along with PR experts who are claiming the singer may face career extinction.
Apparently, spending 10 minutes drifting in Jeff Bezos' pricey capsule is now considered a monumental feat. And to top off this awkward moment, Katy Perry touched down, acting as if she had just returned from a journey through Interstellar.
She essentially took a roller coaster ride.
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru.
I know you're probably cracking up at how absurd this all sounds. And trust me, hearing the full story takes the craziness to a whole new level.
The 11-minute space flight that was touted as some kind of divine feminine gift to humanity.
That was one small step for womankind, one giant leap backwards for mankind.
So here's what went down. Katy Perry actually went to space. Yep, real outer space. Well, technically, she floated for around 11 minutes just beyond Earth's atmosphere in Jeff Bezos' glorified soda can, better known as Blue Origin. But don't you dare call it just a ride.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, no one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey, because a ride implies that it's something frivolous.
I thought it was condescending. It was belittling to women.
Lots of other people in the media were embarrassing themselves during this ordeal. Oprah Winfrey actually wept as she watched the all-female team launch into space.
According to Katy and her PR team, this was a life-changing, emotional, boundary-shattering experience. Basically a spiritual awakening crammed into less time than a forgettable music video. She landed like she'd just chatted with aliens, dropped to her knees, and kissed the Texas soil like a soldier home from war. The theatrics were truly gold medal worthy.
To going up, you said that you needed to go to space to heal. I know you're only a few minutes removed from this.
I feel super connected to love. Goodness. I will never be the same.
You'd honestly think she landed on Mars the way she's going on about it. Katy called it the second most powerful moment of her life, right after giving birth. Not performing for millions, not building a chart-topping career. Nope, this was it. 11 minutes of floating in a billionaire's space pod, and suddenly she's the Dalai Lama in a designer spacesuit. And of course, every camera shot was flawless. Every word felt like it was pulled straight from a marketing playbook.
I've had so many people reach out to me and say, because you did it, it makes me think I can do it too.
You know, it's so funny. She said she's heard from women and girls who have said to her, I didn't realize this is something I could do. You know how I know that didn't happen, Megan? Because it's not something they could do. Because they're not friends with Jeff Bezos, right? Like, take us back!
But here's the kicker. She wasn't even alone. Gayle King tagged along, and right there in the spotlight was Lauren Sanchez, aka Bezos' fiancée, making it feel more like a bridal shower in orbit than a space mission. They pitched it as a groundbreaking all-female flight, riding hard on the whole empowered women empowering women vibe, just with more zero gravity and way less depth.
Minimize this. Let's celebrate female astronauts.
That's the other thing. There has been female astronauts. Let's not minimize.
But here's the kicker. She wasn't even alone. Gayle King tagged along, and right there in the spotlight was Lauren Sanchez, aka Bezos' fiancée, making it feel more like a bridal shower in orbit than a space mission. They pitched it as a groundbreaking all-female flight, riding hard on the whole empowered women empowering women vibe, just with more zero gravity and way less depth.
Their message for women was take up space. You guys are taking up too much space.
And here's the punchline. Absolutely nothing happened. No experiments, no obstacles, nothing even slightly astronaut-like. It was basically a luxury elevator ride to space and back. But judging by how she spoke about Earth, love, and her spiritual awakening, you'd think she just single-handedly cured climate change.
Olivia Wilde reposted an image of Katy Perry kissing the ground. She was acting like she got back from Apollo 13.
It's so much money to go to space. Yeah. There's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. What are they going to do up there that has made it better for us down here?
Like girl, you floated for 10 minutes and returned with a full-blown monologue. That's not spiritual growth, that's a PR crisis in disguise. And the internet saw right through it. Instead of feeling inspired, people felt played. But hey, no surprise, it crashed harder than her last 2 albums combined.
Last second, they added me to space. I'm bringing this. It was in my bag, and I was like on the subway, and I got the text, and they were like, do you want to go to space?
The memes went wild. People roasted that dramatic ground-kissing moment like there was no tomorrow. Even Joe Rogan jumped in and tore it apart, calling out the absurdity like it was some kind of space-themed performance art. Because let's be honest, this wasn't about science, space, or championing women in STEM. This was Katy Perry attempting a soft rebrand in Zero Gravity, hoping everyone would forget her music hasn't made waves in years, unless she's popping up on TV, dressed like a singing mushroom.
Martha Stewart, God bless Martha Stewart. She posted something online because she went up in a flight that achieved zero gravity.
I boarded a Boeing 727 aircraft called G-Force One and experienced what astronauts feel when they reach zero gravity.
She was aiming for a comeback moment. Instead, she landed herself in a cringe compilation. Joe Rogan didn't just react to Katy Perry's space escapade, he dismantled it with the calm precision of someone slicing into a birthday cake labeled delusional. Sitting across from Tim Dillon, he didn't even blink. There was no outrage, just pure, stunned disbelief.
Elle King, upset, had a few things that she needed to explain to those of us who don't understand what a hero she is.
Then came the deadpan question that ripped the glittery packaging right off the whole stunt. What were her findings? Joe honed in on that like a guy who sat through one too many TED Talks. He called it exactly what it was, a wilted daisy, cut off from anything real. Not a symbol of resilience, but the exact opposite. A faded metaphor clutched by a pop star pretending she just revolutionized space travel.
There's nothing frivolous about what we did. Let's see how it went on board the Blue Origin spacecraft.
Flynn, I got
with her daisy.
I got you, Flynn.
Then came the silent blow. The unspoken comparison between Katy Perry and real astronauts. Joe didn't have to say cosplay, it was written all over his face. Real astronauts endure grueling training, take life-threatening risks, operate complex tech, and stare down the chance of never returning. Katy? She floated in a luxury capsule running on autopilot, touched down like an Amazon Prime delivery. No buttons pressed, no systems handled, just good vibes, perfectly. Framed camera shots and a whole lot of spiritual fluff.
Gone next level. The montage of them about them.
There, it's dark. It's like death.
And I'm so proud of us. I really am proud of me.
Flowers for me. I brought a daisy because I have so much love for my daughter Daisy, and I have so much love for my...
And what made it sting the most? Joe wasn't even mad. He was genuinely confused, just stunned by the idea that billionaires and fading pop stars could dress up a luxury joyride and sell it as some kind of feminist breakthrough. And the reason his critique landed so hard, he was right. It's not the hate that hurts, it's the truth behind it.
If I can do this, I was telling these guys, I might even now get my ears pierced. I've never gotten my ears pierced because that hurts.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space.
But then it went from bad to worse. Just as the memes were peaking and the internet was fully in roast mode, the FAA stepped in like the ultimate reality check, receipts in hand. They confirmed what everyone was already thinking. Katy Perry is not an astronaut. Neither is Gayle King. And Lauren Sanchez, definitely not. According to FAA standards, you only earn that title if you actually perform safety-critical tasks during the flight, and floating in luxury doesn't count.
None of the people in this capsule could actually operate anything. It was all being remotely controlled. So it was cool. They took a very, very expensive, very, very cool roller coaster ride.
That announcement hit hard. Not because it was harsh, but because it was brutally matter-of-fact. It sliced right through the space-themed empowerment talk and all the sparkly post-flight monologues. None of them actually did anything. The rocket flew itself. They were just along for the ride, which meant all of Katy's emotional speeches and her astronaut girly crew vibes were built on a title she never earned. And of course, the internet, being the savage force it is, didn't. Waste a second before tearing it all apart.
Lauren Sanchez was also reduced to tears by the experience.
6 women just did the same flight that...
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, I just want to keep hugging you.
We duplicated the trajectory of Alan Shepard's flight back in the day.
People shredded the whole thing. Taken up space crew, more like taking up screen time. Katy called them her astronaut sisters, like they'd trained in Houston and cracked orbital physics side by side. But in reality, they got glammed up, struck poses for the capsule cam, and floated for a few minutes like VIPs on a zero-gravity spa day.
In case you didn't know, Alan Shepard is famous because he was the first American to go to space in 1961. So we don't celebrate the people who do it as on a tourist trip 60 years later. We celebrate the people who were the first to do it. Gail doesn't want us to say that she took a ride, but that is in fact what she did. She took a ride on a remotely piloted craft. Anyone who denies my achievement is
The word astronaut isn't just a cute Instagram caption. It means something. It carries real weight. It's about risk, sacrifice, and contributing something beyond a camera-ready moment, not metaphors and flower props. So, when the FAA stepped in and drew the line, it wasn't just a technical note. It was a mic drop, a reminder that if the title applies to everyone, it ends up meaning nothing. And Katy Perry using that title without putting in the work? It didn't inspire anyone. It rubbed people the wrong way.
Earth looked it was so quiet. It was just quiet.
And now we're supposed to celebrate her crossing new barriers for women, meaning boinking a billionaire and getting a free ticket to space for 11 minutes.
Oh, the internet had a field day. Comment sections lit up with jokes. People dubbed the crew space tourists in Gucci. Some even compared the whole event to Disney's Soarin' ride, just with more hashtags and higher-end cameras. Others crowned Katy as the world's first zero-gravity influencer. And it didn't matter how many emotional captions or teary-eyed interviews followed. The narrative had already flipped. No one was buying the whole space pioneer pitch anymore, because legacy isn't something you can fake. And you definitely don't earn it sitting in a remote-controlled capsule. So,
they got in their special Oscar de la Renta designed suits, laid down in a capsule, and came back in 10 minutes, you guys.
Social media didn't just react to Katy Perry's Blue Origin trip, it torched it. The backlash wasn't planned or strategic, it was raw and automatic. Like the entire internet took one look at the glitter, the zero-gravity hair flips, and collectively said, nope, not today.
They admired the universe, and what they were expecting was for us to admire the fact that they were rich enough and famous enough to have been granted this utterly vacuous experience from which they learned absolutely nothing.
And it all came crashing down with one brutal one-liner that completely eclipsed the entire 11-minute mission. Just 4 words. Can we send her back? Courtesy of Wendy's official account. That wasn't just a roast, it was a cultural KO. A fast food mascot with red pigtails dismantled Katy Perry's self-declared astronaut era in less than 5 seconds.
Because, you know what I was saying, it was like quiet, but then also really alive.
One after another, images of her kneeling in the dirt were photoshopped into war zones, reality TV drama scenes, and even alien abduction posters. The phrase, astronaut girly friends, took on a life of its own. People started tagging it on pictures of girls doing literally anything together, sipping lattes, posing for selfies, shopping at Target in matching outfits. What was meant to be an empowering tagline turned overnight into a meme symbolizing elite detachment and next level. PR delusion.
This right here is the moment that they've been training for. 2 days, becoming a crew, becoming a team.
But the training, it all comes down to literally they learned how to buckle their seatbelt.
Then, out of nowhere, Amy Schumer jumped in like a sniper with flawless comedic timing. She joked that she was added to the mission last minute and just happened to have a spacesuit in her bag when she got the call. Total satire. And that's exactly why it hit so hard. It underscored how random and unserious the whole mission looked to everyone watching. The fact that people could almost believe Amy's joke for a split second said it all. Katy Perry's space saga wasn't being seen as a milestone. It was the internet's new favorite punchline.
And I asked my team to poll, what did they do during their 2 days? Their tasks? They spent the past 2 days practicing how to get into and out of the New Shepard capsule.
People started stitching together clips of Perry floating around the capsule, delivering heartfelt monologues about Earth and motherhood, only to layer them with voiceovers ripped from mockumentaries and reality shows. The one that really blew up? a remix where all the capsule audio was swapped out for people bragging about getting into exclusive VIP clubs. Another viral hit was just a black screen with the caption, "The only thing orbiting Earth was their egos." It spread like wildfire. At that point, even the visuals weren't necessary. Just quoting lines from the mission was enough to send comment sections into chaos.
We are the Taking Up Space crew. There's 6 of us, all women. It's a historical flight to space because it's the first time that all women have been in space.
The internet wasn't finished yet. Amid all the chaos, Martha Stewart swooped in, calm and collected. No tantrums, no flowery speeches, no claims of being forever transformed. Just a throwback clip from 2007 of her effortlessly floating in. A zero-gravity flight. Her caption, "The perfect quiet drag we needed." Not loud, not snarky, just lethal. The internet couldn't resist. This wasn't shade. It was a tactical airstrike from a woman who'd reached icon status long before. Hashtags were even a thing.
The accomplishment of Blue Origin is that Katy Perry went to space. Do you see the difference? Do you understand the difference here? The accomplishment is not that, it is not in the hands of these women. These women did nothing. Truly, they could not have possibly done less for this 11-minute voice.
What made Martha's move so powerful was everything she didn't say. She wasn't acting like it was a big deal. She simply went to space. No tears over Earth, no poetic speeches about flowers. She floated, smiled, landed, and moved on. No labels, no astronaut title needed. That moment turned into a lesson in quiet confidence. And when you compared it to Katy's over-the-top campaign for a flight that barely touched space, Martha's simplicity hit even harder. Users reshared Martha's clip, adding captions like "Glamour isn't innovation." The wild part? Martha pulled it off 17 years ago, and did it better.
It's not a flight crew. That's like I'm calling myself the flight crew because I went on Soarin' at Epcot at Disney World. Did you know I'm also a paranormal investigator because I've been on the Haunted Mansion at Disney World approximately 6 times?
Suddenly, the whole influencer space explorer fantasy just crumbled under its own hype. What Katy tried to frame as life-changing now came across as pure performance. The daisy, the speeches, the "making space" slogan, it all started feeling like content crafted for captions, not something real. And when you line that up next to Martha's chill zero-gravity moment from years ago, the difference was impossible to ignore. One felt like a billion-dollar media push, while the other simply proved you don't have to show off just to float.
Feels like you hand-selected a couple of friends to go do this. I mean, it should have been a lottery system like Willy Wonka where just 7 random people
pull out some guy who's not supposed to be here.
Just a cashier at HEB, someone from MS-13.
The memes just kept evolving. Someone slapped Katy's face onto a Disney astronaut doll box. Others used AI to pump out fake headlines like "Katy Perry discovers Earth is round, cries tears of stardust." It didn't matter how much the trip cost or how heartfelt the speech sounded. Online, Katy had already been rebranded, not as a space pioneer, not as a feminist icon, but as the face of overhyped space tourism. Meanwhile, with just one old clip, Martha leveled up as the ultimate queen of the clapback.
Thank you for having me. What were they up there, 10 minutes?
Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
Yeah. What were her findings? That's my question.
Nobody organized it. Nobody planned it. But the pattern was impossible to miss. The more Katy spoke about transformation, bravery, and global unity, the louder the internet cranked up the jokes. Every fresh headline about the Blue Origin flight just fueled another wave of parody. The mission itself may have wrapped up in 11 minutes, but the online roasting had no landing gear, because once you turn into a meme, you don't get to pick where you crash.
Backlash against Katy Perry is not ending. Both Joe Rogan and Martha Stewart chiming in over the weekend, along with PR experts who are claiming the singer may face career extinction.
When Lauren Sanchez floated through the Blue Origin capsule and said, "We're all in this together," something broke on the internet. Not in a fun way, not in an uplifting way, but in that awkward moment where everyone just froze, stared at their screens, and thought, did she seriously just say that? Because no, we are definitely not all in this together. Not when the ticket costs more than what most people make in a year, and not when the capsule's packed with billionaires, TV hosts, and pop stars pretending they speak for everyday women.
Wow.
Look at her nails. So pretty.
Now, so they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes?
At least.
And then they come down.
Let's not minimize this.
No, I
Let's,
Let's not minimize this. For real, they did float for 10 minutes.
That one quote, those 6 words, turned into an instant meme. Screenshots of Sanchez's wide-eyed moment were everywhere, plastered across social media with captions like, "Meanwhile, I'm splitting rent with 3 roommates and living on ramen." People who had just watched Katy Perry tear up over daisies and Gayle King preach about the journey were now being told they were somehow part of this experience too. Like standing in line at a food bank was the same thing as blasting into space for an 11-minute ego trip.
A lot of men astronauts, they have to go to school.
Right.
They have to learn how to be a pilot first. Then they have to join the Air Force or the Navy. And then they get appointed by NASA.
That's right.
And then they go to space. You know?
And there has been, that's the other thing, there has been female astronauts.
Let's not minimize.
This wasn't just another out-of-touch moment. It was peak delusion, neatly packaged inside a billionaire-branded rocket. It was the kind of scene that summed up everything wrong with performative celebrity activism. Lauren Sanchez, partner to one of the richest men alive, earnestly talking about cosmic unity from the comfort of a luxury capsule, while people back on Earth were checking gas prices and stressing about how to afford eggs that week. The clash wasn't just tone deaf, it was radioactive.
That she was rescued by
Elon Musk, who
wants to expose fraud and waste.
Yes. Did Musk rescue her?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Where's that in the news?
That's what made it explode. Because in that moment, we're all in this together, didn't sound inspiring, it sounded insulting. It turned space travel into a symbol of elite escapism, a luxury getaway dressed up as empowerment, a way to play the hero without ever getting your hands dirty, a way to post about unity while floating inside a capsule most people couldn't even dream of seeing, let alone entering. And the harder they tried to sell that message, the harder. The public pushed back.
I chatted about it on my show. I saw her say something about we weren't taking space, we're making space.
That's the one I want to say.
Which I thought was an interesting scientific.
It's not this one?
No. I got another one. I got some better one.
And that's the thing. When the packaging gets louder than the purpose, people notice. The feminist narrative didn't just fall apart, it exposed itself. Critics even gave it a name, Fulmanism, a mashup of feminism and fantasy, where the real goal isn't equality, it's applause. Where the mission isn't about breaking glass ceilings, it's about breaking Instagram engagement records. You put on a suit, float for 11 minutes, cry for the cameras, and walk away crowned. An icon. Even if you didn't actually change anything.
Well, yeah, and I also think it's fun to see somebody who has no self-awareness. Yeah. They're always the most fun.
It wasn't just Chastain who called it out. Comment sections across every platform lit up with voices from real women in tech, science, and education who felt overlooked. They weren't bitter. They were frustrated. While they were fighting for visibility and scraping for funding, this crew was floating around taking billion-dollar selfies and acting like it was the same struggle. Perry's poetic one-liners about healing, Earth, and space didn't feel real. They felt scripted, market-tested, like empowerment was just another bullet point in a press release.
It's funny to hear the richest guy in the world's
Lauren Sanchez
wife go, "We're all in it together."
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know if people feel that.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And then came the fashion coverage. Articles breaking down her outfit like it was the Met Gala. Zero focus on mission design, zero talk about the technical side, just endless takes about how her suit matched her skin tone and tied into her Daisy tribute. Which, fine, if this was a photo shoot. But when you label it feminist history, the expectations shift. What people saw wasn't a cultural breakthrough, it was a rebrand. Space travel got turned into a runway. Feminism got slapped on like a filter and the public wasn't buying it. The flight was meant to show progress, but instead, it exposed the gap between women fighting real battles without recognition and women floating in space for 10 minutes and getting crowned as revolutionaries. That contrast didn't inspire. It alienated. And every time they tried to push the message harder, it only backfired. The internet didn't reject women in space. It rejected the idea that this was what representation looked like. What's your take on this historic mission? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see who roasts it best.